bunch of you were here yesterday, and those who were not, the recording of that video will be available. I think it's still processing. Some of you can get to it, but some of you can't. But I'll make that available so you can watch that portion. Today, I'm just going to dive into Google Analytics. I've been thinking about how to do it. In a way, it was actually good that yesterday's stream ended abruptly. Because today I thought about, like, how do I want to reposition this training. I was first going to do only Google Analytics, the current version of Google Analytics, but then and I was gonna, as I was preparing for this training, Google Analytics 4 was announced just a day before yesterday. So then I was going to introduce Google Analytics 4 in this training. But then I thought, okay, why not I do a full comparison here for you guys, so you guys can see both of those and see what are the difference in these two versions. Google Analytics existing one is here to stay for a little while. There is no guidance as that I know from Google on when they will actually sunset that. But what I'm hearing in the market, or what I'm hearing from folks in the industry who are using or are consultants, that they both are here to stay for a while. The reason is there is a bit of learning curve with Google Analytics 4. However, that also presents a great opportunity for those who want to be freelancers in this time, because whatever you learn in Google Analytics, some of that applies. The learning, the basic fundamentals still apply, but it's a whole new ballgame with the new Google Analytics 4. So with that, I'm also actually announcing a new course that I have put together to help people start their freelance career with Google Analytics 4, because there are a lot of companies who will be actually looking for people to help them. Like, where is this report? Where is that report, etc. And how do I do this? How do I do that? Those kind of questions are already popping up because the interface is different. The way you used to do things is different. So if you guys, anybody wants to become a freelancer, reach out to me and I'll make sure you get the support, everything that's needed to launch your freelance career using Google Analytics 4. It's not going to be full-blown digital analyst program or anything, but just focused on Google Analytics 4. So with that, I'm going to dive into Google Analytics. Hey, let me know what you guys see now. I keep having some issues here, but if you are able to see Google Analytics, then we can start. All right, seems like you guys can see Google Analytics. And if you are not able to see it, sometimes just refreshing the page will help. So here is Google Analytics as it is today. The way Google Analytics is organized today is in buckets of reports. So you have, when you first come into Google Analytics, you'll most likely go to the home section of Google Analytics. This home section gives you an overview of the data, like what's happening on your site. The difference between Google Analytics current one and GA4 is how they are actually positioning it. Web analytics was the main focus, with digital analytics and campaign analysis was added on to Google Analytics. However, new Google Analytics is more focused around audience, the customer, and their journey, so where they are in their journey. So cross-device is a big thing. Here, cross-device was an add-on because Google Analytics started as a web analytics tool. It's centered around web. Customer is still critical. Well, without customers, there's nothing. So customer is critical part of both those tools, or the way they were positioned. So keep that in mind, and I'll show you the differences as we get there. So you come to home. Home shows you how many users, what revenue you're getting if it's an e-commerce site, how much conversion rate, and sessions. So it gives you a snapshot of what's happening, how many people are active right now. So you've got different widgets that you can take a look and see if your site is even functioning. A lot of time when you have a very low site, low traffic site, then you might wonder, is anybody coming to my site? Is it working? Are people able to see it or not? Similar to what I do here is, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Those kind of things is what I keep talking about. Here, YouTube is giving me some issue that stream is not healthy. And it asked me to change the bitrate. I'm scared to change anything at this point because it might mess up stuff, and I don't want to do that. That happened yesterday. But if you guys do not see it, the screen or what I'm talking about, and the screens don't match my words, then please do let me know. Then you have customization, and I'm not going to get into details in customization, but customization allows you to create your own custom reports. So you can take a bunch of data from Google Analytics, whatever you're seeing, and put together a report that meets your need. There is customization here, which is a low-end version, I would say, of what you can get from Google Data Studio. I think this was put together before Google Data Studio was announced or became a thing, and so it's still there. They might merge this section with Google Data Studio. You can do all these things in there as well. So Google Analytics, the way it organizes data is to, right, there is a dimension. Dimension is how you categorize the data. So, and then you have metrics such as users, number, counts. So dimension might be a traffic channel. We're looking at a particular traffic channel. So that's a dimension. How many people are coming from search? Search is a dimension. Then you got metrics. How many? That's how all the reports are organized. So when you are going through Google Analytics, keep that in mind. There are dimensions and there are metrics. Metrics are numbers. Dimensions are how you categorize them. All those reports will show you dimension and metrics about different aspects of the site or all the customers. Real-time reports give you idea about what's happening in real time right now. What is going on your site? A great debugging tool, not a great analysis tool. A lot of people get confused about this. I can't analyze this. I can't see this. It's not for that. It is for making sure everything is working as expected. Real-time reports have more data now in GA4 than it does in current Google Analytics. So here you can see overview, what pages people are looking at, where they are coming from, etc. The locations, where in the world they are. So let's say if you're running a campaign, I just ran a campaign, let's say in India, and I want to see if people are actually coming from that campaign. This is a great debugging tool. It shows me they are coming from India at this point. So that's a good, healthy sign that my campaign is likely working. So you pick a country or your location. Maybe you have you're running a campaign or just did an affiliate push in this example and you're only getting one active user. So that means the affiliates are not participating. So great debugging tool. You can go over those to see what kind of information users are looking at and whether they are coming to your site as expected or not. So in this example, how you would use this one, let's say you have a landing page that just went live. You want to see how people are using it. Are people coming to it? Maybe that's part of your campaign that you just sent. In this case, you're getting a page unavailable. 2 people got page unavailable. That's a point that's the data that you look at and investigate further on why this is happening. Maybe the site was down for a few minutes or seconds, or maybe something else is going on. So great debugging tool again. Events are non-page view actions by users. So when Google Analytics, if you remember from yesterday, when a Google Analytics code executes on a page count gets added to Google Analytics. However, certain things which are like users scrolling through a page, adding products to cart, in this case, installing something, downloading something, all those things can be tracked by Google Analytics by some code. It's not captured by default. So keep that in mind. Events are something the actions user take or actions that happen within your browser. You can track them via some code. whether using directly the code on the page or using a tool like Google Tag Manager. I highly suggest using Google Tag Manager. It allows you to track a bunch of stuff that wasn't even possible a few years ago before the tag managers came into play. Well, it was possible, but a lot of coding was required. Now it's just few clicks. Google Analytics 4, as you'll see, automatically captures several events. You do not need to capture a bunch of stuff in Google Tag Manager or Google Analytics or by writing a code, such as page scroll, button clicks, external link clicks are all, or e-commerce, are all part of Google Analytics tracking. Some of the events are tracked automatically. Some of them require a bit of code, not a whole lot of code, but a bit of code, whether through Google Tag Manager or directly on the page. But the way it's done is has changed. And then conversions is the events that you, or the things that you define as conversion points. So somebody in this case entered a checkout, that might be a conversion for you, purchase completed, registration, etc. You get to decide what you want to track as goals or conversion points. So that's real-time report, pretty handy. I always use it whenever there is a new code that gets pushed, whenever a new page goes live, whenever there is a new campaign, etc. Real-time reports really help. Then you have audience. Audience is all about your customers. Who are these people? There is tons of information in audience that's available about your users. Any site that gets built, any campaign that you're running, always should have audience in mind. Who is this for? Why are we doing this? If I'm sending out a coupon in an email, I always think about who is the likely person to respond to this. What is their situation? So all those things I define first before I send out and say what will make sense, right? So that is what audience is. If you are building your site, it's not like your site is going to work for everybody. You have to define, and those are called personas, right? Personas define who these users are. They include demographic information, their preferences, other stuff as well. So a bunch of information to give a real life view into who your customer is. Audience report help you with that persona development and also verifying the persona to make so that you can make sure you are reaching the right audience, and right type of audience is how your site is configured. So audience, click on it and you have a bunch of reports here. Google Analytics 4 is very audience centric, and we'll see that when we get to that. So you got overview. Overview tells you how many people, general stats. So how many users are coming, new users, sessions, how many sessions per user, page views, etc. Right? How much time they're spending. So you get a bunch of information in this tab here. Not very, very useful. It just gives you overall stats that you need, right? It's not actionable. So every time you look at a report and say, what can I learn from this? What is this telling me? And how is this going to impact my business? How can I help the stakeholders in my organization? If you're a freelancer, how can I help my customers, right? Like agencies like us, we are always thinking about how can we help customers? What can we bring to the table, right? It's not about bringing these stats. A 12-year-old can do that. If I show my son how to do and pull these numbers, he will be able to pull and put it in Google Data Studio, right? But it's not about that. It's about insights. What is this telling me? At this point, it's not telling you anything. So what do you do in this scenario? You have certain controls here that you can use. One, you have this calendar, very powerful, right? You can compare to a different time frame. So let's say if I compare to another time frame, similar type of dates, last week, and do a comparison, then it tells me if the trend is similar or not. Yes, the trend is very similar. So I'm not finding any good insight here. Maybe I need to change this time frame, and I can do month over month comparison. So I can pick a month compared to other month. I can do last year compared to this year and see if there are changes. So if I go and change that to 19 and 19, oops, and apply. Now I'm comparing 2 years. It's not the exact date, but now you can see the trend is kind of different. That tells me I have to look at what happened. Maybe it's the weekday, week off. Maybe the dates, I'm not comparing the exact weekday because Sunday is not aligning to Sunday. Maybe that's what is going on here. But you get the idea. You kind of look at this calendar and find those things that might drive your business, give you some insight. Hey, this is working, this is not working. What did we do from last year to this year? Those things will help you drive more insights. Other thing that's those that are available on this report, you can also do weekly and monthly view here. You can compare them. And you have an insight tab. Clicking on the insight, and this is available on all the reports pretty much, tells you what Google is seeing. This is based on machine learning. Machine learning is the core of Google Analytics 4. It started with Google Analytics, the current one, but Google Analytics 4 actually has more machine learning built into it. And I'll talk about that when we get there. But you can find some insights that Google is finding, and those will tell you what's going on. They'll make recommendations, etc. So that's a very powerful tool. If you're not using it, use that tool as well. Other thing that you can use is also segments. Right now, I'm looking at all users. I can add, actually, I'm just going to go remove the comparison so it's easier to look at. Then I can go and add a segment, right? So in this case, you can create a segment based on, these are system defined segments that are already predefined for you by Google. You have custom segments that I've created or you create, and you can create a new segment by choosing a certain criteria. Let's say if I want to look at people who have more than 3 sessions, I can just do that here. And as I'm doing it, you'll notice it gives me idea of how many users are in that segment. Once the segment is done, I can do test and save it. And it gets applied. You can barely see that. Sorry, it's a test segment. I don't know why it removed, but system, all users, I'm going to compare those two. And here you can see the comparison. Users in my test, how many users, and how many sessions, and all users. So you can see the comparison between those two segments. Really powerful tool for you to analyze, slice, and dice your data. That's what this allows you to do. So every report has that. Now I'm going to go deeper into audience report to show you some other stuff and features. But this is where you start, and you can find so much information. And I'm telling you, like, this is what I mentioned yesterday. People spend way too much time figuring out what to track. Why? Because there are experts who have told that you can hack and you can track with JavaScript every possible thing. I would say stop. Take a look. You already have tons of data that you can use today to conduct analysis and move the business forward. You do not need over tagging on your site. Way too much time is spent on tagging, then it's spent on analysis. The role of a digital web analyst is to do analysis, not tagging. That's the job of an implementation person. Sure, you need to know tagging, you need to know how implementation is done so that you can ask the right questions or understand why the data makes sense or doesn't make sense. But don't spend way too much time. You do not need to learn every single trick in JavaScript and CSS and HTML. There is already a bunch of data here. So I'm going to go and remove this segment that I created. In order to do that, click on this arrow and then click on remove. Now data is back to where it was. Right. So those are some of the analysis tool, and I'll show you another one later. But you got a bunch of reports here, active users, how many users are active on your site for a time frame, 1 day, 7 day, etc. Lifetime value, if you have this, these are all beta, so I'm not going to go actually in detail on a bunch of these anyway. Then you've got demographics. This is the one that's underused, but really helpful report. As I was talking about personas, this is where you get the information. So let's go ahead and click on it. If you are not using this report today, you should use it. This tells you who's coming to your site. Let's say if my site and my personas, I'm catering to people in 35 to 44 age range. Maybe my persona is around in that age and say 36-year-old, so-and-so, male, gender, whatever, I pick that. And then I come to my site and find out, well, it's actually 25 to 34. So did we miss defining the persona? Did we have misinformation on personas? How did we define those personas? Have things changed? Those are the kind of things that you can look at. This data here is not data that you collect on your customers. This data is automatically provided to you by Google. These are all the people who Google knows came to your site. So if I have a Gmail account or Google has some information about me, they know what age I am in, and they'll put me in this bucket right here. So as you'll see here, 41.87% of total users on your site are known to Google. That's Google has the age on them, 41%. So rest 59 or whatever, 58% of the folks here, Google does not know who they are. So it's a sample data, but still very powerful. Similarly, here for gender. So you can take a look, see if it aligns with the persona that your organization has built. If it hasn't built, time for you to take the lead and say, hey, we got this information. Who can tell me if this is who we are trying to target or not? You got age and gender. You can go into details in age and gender if you would like right here. And it gives you more information on how many users within that age range, how many new users, what are they doing, bounce rate, etc. So bounce is somebody comes on your site, leaves without taking any further action. That's a bounce. So you can see the bounce rate. And then average session duration, etc. All the reports that are provided in Google, most of them have this tabular format. So you'll see these reports in this format. You can change the format by clicking on these buttons right here. So let's say if I want to create a pivot view, I can just simply click on this pivot, and now it's a pivot table view. I can also look at the pie chart. And this is the pie chart of that data. Similarly, you can see how they are trending from bar chart view, and then also from the average. So how is this? 24 are 187.64% higher than the average. So you have different views that you can look your data in. You can pick how you want to compare by clicking in this box here. So you can pick different metrics or different dimensions, etc., to see how your site compares. Sorry, different metrics here. Another thing, I'm going to go back to tabular format. This is the most common format that's there, but you have options on several of these reports. Other thing that you can also do is use search, advanced search, to look through the data. If you have a lot of data here, in this case, you only have 6 rows, but as we look in the pages, landing pages, etc., this has hundreds, maybe thousands of pages, then you can use search. You can also sort them by clicking on these on the top right here. So if I click on this one, this is actually already sorted by user. So if I click here, now it's sorted by new users. Similarly, I can click on any of these and it gets sorted by that. Other thing you'll notice, this has e-commerce conversion rate, etc. These are your goals. What are you trying to achieve, right? Remember this all the time. What's the purpose of your business? What are you trying to achieve? You can change this by clicking on conversions and picking a different goal. So if I do all goals, you can see total goal conversions that are happening. Other thing that you can do also is, remember I was talking about how you can conduct deeper analysis. The dates are fine, segments are one way, and then you also have secondary dimensions that you can use. So clicking on this, you can pick a secondary dimension, let's say medium. I'm randomly picking one. Then you can see which age range and where they're coming from and their metrics. So you get much deeper view into how your audience are coming from and how many are coming from which source. You can also change this to show the full view rather than just 10. So you have a longer list here, only 32 right here. You can pick any secondary dimension that you want. So commonly used is where you'll start to go and start to look at. So those are the tools that you can use to conduct analysis. The way analysis happens is generally two ways. One, you have a problem, right? You come to the office in the morning and somebody tells you, hey, did you see that traffic drop? Did you know that this happened? We're not getting as many conversions. That's a very reactive way of doing stuff, right? Something happened and you need to dig into it. Most of the people kind of are involved in that firefighting all day long. In that scenario, you are starting with a goal, converging. You know this is a problem. You're starting with the problem and trying to find the data on why that happened. You can do all the slicing and dicing to find and pinpoint the problem. And the other way is proactive, where you are trying to improve the business. In that case, there is a lot of fishing that happens. You might not find information, but this creating all sorts of segments, sorting all sorts of data will find information that you can take and be proactive. So if you're not fighting a fire, I suggest go into your data, play with these three options: segments, timeline, and secondary dimensions. You will find a lot of information. You might also find questions. Hey, what about this? Are we tracking this? And that's when you start to track all those things. So first is start with your business objective, create a plan. And I have a plan that I use all the time with clients, where we start with the baseline stuff that we absolutely know that we will need. And rest everything, you know, going in Google Tag Manager and hacking the code to do certain things, all come from what do we need now to provide that information. So keep that in mind. Then you have interest. Again, a very powerful tool. It tells you what are your audience in the market for. Great for planning your media, media buying. Who are we trying to reach here? What are they doing and where are they? Affinity category tells you what are they most likely to respond to, what excites them. In market is currently what are they doing in the market. So it seems like 3% of the folks who are coming to Google's merchandise store, which seems like Google's own employees most of the time, are in the market for employment. They're trying to change their job. Maybe HR internally should look at that as well. That can help them. Employment, career counseling, consulting services. So you look at it, seems like a lot of people are in the market looking for job, and maybe they are internal folks, but gives you a lot of information, right? This tells me that they are value shoppers. So maybe coupons, discount offers will work for them. There are also media and entertainment lovers. So maybe those are the sites I need to put my site on. They are also into technology, travel, etc. So I can think about those and how to include that in my media planning. And then where are they currently? So it gives you great information. If you haven't spent time on it, I suggest you highly that you spend time in it. Then you have geolocations, language, location. I don't need to go into those. You got behavior, new versus returning. How many are new, how many are returning? Are you engaging those users? Are you uh, uh, engagement is a big factor in Google Analytics 4. I will show you that. But returning visitors and new visitors, how are they coming? What are they doing, etc. So you know your target, how you want to reach them, and if users are converting or not, if retention is a problem or not. You can take a look at that. Frequency, recency, how frequently they are coming to your site, how recently they were on the site, the days since last session, and how many times they are coming, right? Number of sessions, and then when did we see them last? Again, take a look, see where you find some insights that you can help the business move forward. Then you also have technology, what devices they are using, and what browsers in this case they are using, operating systems. So you have these tiny links right here where you can go and find more information about your users. So if your site is built for a certain dimension and people, smaller companies have a hard time testing out every single browser and every single device. But this will give you information about that, what's happening. Let's say if the conversions are bad on a particular device, operating system, for example, then you know there is a problem there. And that's something your team can take a look and see if your site is actually rendering properly or not. In this case, revenue is more for Windows and Mac and iOS, but nothing from Android. That's actually concerning given this is a Google merchandise store and most of the people are Google's internal employees. They're not even using Android to purchase. So something to dig deeper into and find out why this is happening. You can put another segment on it, male, female, gender information, all that stuff, age stuff, and then slice that data to find insights. Mobile, kind of subset of this, it gives you just a mobile view. And then you have cross-device. Cross-device is a big thing in Google Analytics 4. The whole thing is built around cross-device customer journey. And that's what they want to connect because people are using multiple devices to make a purchase decision. They might do analysis or they might do research on one device and purchase on another device. So what Google Analytics is trying to do is bridge that gap. It started here, but now it's kind of inbuilt into the whole, the way that Google Analytics collects the data. So we'll look at that. Not too much into cross device. I don't have a site that can go into app, but Google hasn't released a demo version from their store yet. You can define your custom variables, etc. here, benchmarking against other channels, locations. So I'm not going to go into details given the time because I also want to show you Google Analytics 4. But you get the idea. You have a ton of information about audience. What are your users doing? Then you have how are users coming? Remember yesterday I said, think about the framework in, on, and out. That should be your analysis framework. How are users coming in? Is there a problem there? What are they doing on the site? Is there a problem there? Or what's working, what's not? And then where are they leaving the site from? Is there a problem there? That's how you need to think about your analysis. And audience is the centerpiece for all those, or center of all these. Acquisition is how are users coming into the site? What are the various ways they get to your site is where you will find information in this section of the reports. Overview, again, gives you an overview of various channels, organic search, direct, referral, paid, social, etc. So you get a view into how users are finding your site. You can go into all traffic. Similar report will show up here, but in this tabular format, right? So now you have more details. You can do your pivot table or whatever view you want to do in this data as well. So organic search by far beats everything else. Direct a little bit, referral direct but little bit, but everything else is below average. If your company is spending a lot of time or money and efforts on affiliate, let's say you have a big team that's supporting affiliates and you're not seeing as much traffic, then it's time for you to ask this question, why are we doing this and what are we doing there? You also have a tree map view of these channel groupings or different formats. So you got organic search. You can look at that data as well. So not only you have the tabular format, but tree view as well. In this, you have separate section. Actually, let's go to source medium. Source medium is how it's very critical aspect of how Google organizes this data. And if you're not familiar with source medium, I would say spend some time looking at it because you will see a bunch of stuff that get miscategorized and does not flow into proper channel because their source and medium are not defined properly. This source and medium is how Google groups them together and puts them in channels. So Google organic will be put in organic. But if this Google changes to Google One organic, that's not going to be put into organic maybe. So you have to look at the definitions. There is, I think I have a document on that, or I can find one if somebody needs it. And then there is referral, which is where are people coming from other sites. So by maybe there is a link on those sites. That's what people are clicking on to get to it. So which sites, maybe it's an affiliate link, maybe it's a link that's organically shared, whatever that is, these links people are clicking to come to your site. You also have integration with Google Ads, Search Console, which is the search engine optimization data. You're not going to find anything here. I don't think Google has given us access to their search data. Let's see. Oh, some of that stuff is there. The landing pages that people are coming. These are the pages that are ranked somewhere in search engines. People search and then they come to your site. So you can see those. Let's see if they have queries enabled or not for us. Yes, they do actually. That's great. So they have done a full integration with Search Console, which was known as Google Webmaster Tools. And I think, I'm not sure what it's called, Search Console, maybe it's, yeah, that's what it's called. So you can go and find details about how your site is ranking in search engines, what keywords your site is showing up for, and which one is getting the clicks. Pretty powerful. If you haven't done that, I highly suggest you connect your Google Analytics with Search Console data. I have a video on that on my YouTube channel as well. So you can see that there. Social stuff, you can look at the social, how people are coming from social channels. And then you have campaign data. Campaign are generally your paid efforts, either it's a paid search or it could be email campaigns or any sort of campaigns that you are running where you have defined your UTM parameters. UTM parameters are the ones which give metadata to your campaign. So there are certain parameters, up to 5 parameters is what you can pass. And you append that to a URL and they'll start to show up here. There is also direct integration, like I said, with Google Ads that you can do. So in this case, you have all these campaigns that are running and how they're performing. Digging into the campaign, you can find out the medium, etc. So source medium, it's coming from Google. You're participating in paid search. And this is what the stats are, how many users, etc. are coming from that campaign. Okay, so then once acquisition is done, users are on your site now. What are they doing on the site? That's the behavior side of things. So clicking on behavior will show you all the data about users. So you have overview, like other overview reports, gives you a snapshot of what's going on, what pages looking at, what site content, etc. So you can drill deeper into all these reports by clicking right here. So first we'll start with landing pages. So we saw acquisition, people are coming from some sources, whether it's referral, paid search, social, whatever. Once they come on the site, the first page they see is the landing page. So landing page is not necessarily homepage. There is a concept of homepage, but it's no longer homepage is the only thing that's there. As you can see, people directly come to different pages. This is the first page they saw. Clicked on it, it's going in there. So I'm gonna go all. How many use sessions, etc. are happening, and then you have the same conversion metrics. You can change this criteria here. If you have a problem, start from the acquisition and then landing page. Most of your time will be spent there. What is happening? Let's say we are seeing a very high bounce rate. I won't consider 45% a very high bounce rate, but it's higher than I would like. And what I can see is this page has the biggest problem in all this, 56%. That might be giving you a clue into like, okay, let's take a look at it. Maybe I can slice it by device and see if the bounce rate still exists at that level. Maybe it's the mobile device versus desktop devices causing it. I do not know what that is. I can go ahead and either put a secondary dimension right here, or I can go and add a segment and slice this data further. Once you slice this data further, you can find out where the problem is. And once you identify the problem, then it's a matter of working with the team to fix that problem. And once users are done, Actually, before I go into that. So landing page, and then they look at all the pages. They're basically then diving deeper into your site. So this is where you'll start to see what pages they are looking at and what are they doing on the site, which pages are getting, where people are leaving, etc. So you can see the percent exit, bounce rate, entrance. All these pages, what are the users doing? 45% bounce rate, a good percentage are exiting here too. But this is a home page. Every page on your site has a purpose. You need to know what that purpose is. Some pages have a purpose to drive users inside. Some pages have a purpose to provide information and move them to the checkout process. Some are part of the checkout process, and others are finally thank you information pages where people are expected to leave. So analyze those. Is this page performing as expected based on the objective of that page? Similarly, you've got exit pages, tells you where people are leaving your site from. Everybody who comes to your site is going to leave at some point. That's what it's telling you. All right, so that's there. And then you have event information, which is, as I mentioned earlier, which was events on non-page view actions that happen on the site. So anything that you want to track will be listed here. That's your event. You get to define what you want to see as an event. Those will show up here, and you have this. There is a big change here in Google Analytics 4 and Google Analytics in terms of events. In past, events had category, action, and label. 3 parameters were provided to events. So you define an event by passing this value. So let's say it's a contact us, you drill down, see this is event category. Now event action was on-site click. And event label were email and phone. So you know like what people are clicking based on this information. In case of Google Analytics 4, there is no concept of action label. There is an event, but there are parameters you can pass. I think there is a 20 up to 25 parameters you can pass to provide much richer information about your events. It's a very events focused format. We'll take a look at that as well. And then you have conversion tracking, which is your goal tracking. You define what constitutes a goal on your site, and you can track them. Now, I'm going to go to admin panel. This is all about the reports. You have the funnel views, etc. But now I'm going to go to the admin panel. This is where you define your goals, right? You click on goals, and you get to define a goal right here. You need to have admin privileges to do that. I don't have on this account, but if I had, there will be create a new goal, and I can create a goal as per this definition. I can see the definition right here, but I can make changes on this Google Analytics demo store. So you can define either an action, time, etc. as your goal. Once you define it, it'll start to show up in the conversion tracking. Other thing you'll notice in Google Analytics 4, and I'm now transitioning to Google Analytics 4 in a few minutes, or in Google Analytics, you'll see there is an account. I showed that structure yesterday. There is an account. There's a property setting, right? Property is a group of sites that you want to track, generally one site, but maybe more than one site. And then you have views underneath it. Views is how you want to see your data. In Google Analytics 4, there is no concept of view. It's gone. And how do you do that view is where a lot of people are now struggling with. Like, oh, I had a view. Now, how do I do that? And this is where I said, it's a great opportunity for freelancers because there will be lots of gigs coming out and saying, I need to set this, I need to move this. How do I do that? How do I do that? There's a bit of learning curve. So if, whoever is interested will actually make a great living out of that. So that's about Google Analytics. Now I'm going to transition over to Google Analytics 4 and start to show you the new interface and how it's different from this. I've talked about a bunch of points, but keep those in mind as I'm going to Google Analytics 4 now. So here is a view into Google Analytics 4. As you'll notice in this one, the left nav bar remains pretty much there, right? It's how you navigate. But you'll also notice the way they have changed or the groupings, the namings, etc. So you got home and real time, which existed there, but you have now life cycle. Think about cycle. This is customers' life cycle, where they are in their journey. Because customer is coming to your site and they are making a decision whether to buy from you or not. Those things. So acquisition, how are they getting here? Engagement, how engaged they are with our site or app. So they got rid of the whole concept of just spending page views, but it's about engagement. And then they are spending money, and are we able to retain them? Now, even though this has come out of beta, the way I'm looking at these reports, it seems like there's still more to come, because this can't be everything. There has to be changes in it. They're still thinking a bunch of stuff. If you try to use Google Tag Manager to implement Google Analytics app or Google Analytics 4, there are still missing pieces, or you have to actually understand there are different pieces. They're still in beta. And then reports will come out as well, because people are struggling, and based on the feedback they're going to get, they'll make changes. Then you have user, which is still at the center. So you got demographic and technology. Maps exactly to how we were looking at back there, age, etc. And then technology is the browser, OS, etc. And I'll go into details here. Then you also have conversions and events. Events is a big focus in Google Analytics 4. Everything is events. Page view is an event. They have changed the concept of events in Google Analytics. Every hit is an event. Those who are familiar with Google Analytics, if you are, there was a deeper concept into Google Analytics about setting the events, the custom dimensions, etc., and providing much more information around events. All those things have changed, and I can't go into details on everything, but just letting you know that this is very event centric view. The scopes have changed, so everything is like hit scope. All the events are hit scope. And then you have analysis. So you'll notice there is no way for me to do any segmentation here, right? I can do add comparison, and this is where I can build some kind of comparison, but it's not full-blown segmentation that we were so used to using and seeing. And some of that stuff has moved into analysis. Analysis hubs provide some templates for you to start using for you to conduct deeper analysis. And then you can configure a bunch of stuff as well, audience, user properties, etc. You also have a debug view, so you can see your changes, just like a Google Tag Manager debug view. But I'm going to go to admin really quick, and then we'll come back. So here's an admin panel. There's no concept of views right here. Very simple view concept. All you have is property settings. What kind of setting here is? Here's your property detail. You can click the property ID, and then you have data streams. Data streams are how it gets the data. So clicking on this one, this is your measurement ID that you put in Google Tag Manager, etc. And it shows you what kind of enhancement tracking it's doing. It's automatically tracking the scrolls, outbound clicks, site searches, video engagement, file downloads. These are automatically tracked. You don't have to use Google Tag Manager to do these things. In past, you had to do custom coding or Google Tag Manager to do this level of tracking. So making sure you guys can still hear me. Yes. I'm not seeing any comments. So please, if you have questions, make sure to put the comments here, or anything to let me know, like I'm not talking to myself here. You got some data settings, etc. Those will be advanced topics, but you can see there is very little in the admin panel compared to what you had in the previous admin panel. So I'm going to go back here. You guys can still hear me, right? Yes? No? Give me something. All right, so let's go to home, sorry. In the home, you have much more information now. You have, the snapshot of your user information. It shows you user in the last 30 minutes, as well as it's going to provide you insights. As I mentioned before, Google Analytics 4 is machine learning driven. Machine learning is central to it. And the reason is there are so many privacy policies coming up or data security policies coming up from countries, states, browsers that, yes, that are making it difficult to collect every single piece of information that's needed, every single piece of data that's needed for you to get good analysis. So in this case, they are using machine learning. So let's say if a user decides not to give certain pieces of data or browser blocks certain pieces of data, they can use machine learning to fill that gap. And that's why it's at the center of it. So if cookie gets deleted, sure, it gets deleted. And they will use machine learning to fill that gap. And that's what they're doing. It's at the center of it. Another thing is these insights are all machine learning driven. So they'll start to come up. Also, their search, as they claim, is machine learning driven. So much better search than you had in previous version of Google Analytics. So you got a lot more information here on the home. You can look at any way you want to look at this data. Gives you quick way to dive into and saying, where is the problem? What am I seeing here? Oh, user activity over time. Maybe it's declining. That's what you look at. And here are all the events that you're seeing. You know, as you can see, page view is an event, user engagement is an event, scroll is an event, session start, first visit, everything is an event. Every action is an event. There are 4 categories of events that they kind of bucket everything in. 2 of them are automatically tracked. For one, you have to do your coding. You have to do a bit of coding. When I say coding, it's not really going in and coding. It's a small piece of JavaScript. If you're doing coding, if you're putting tracking directly on a page, or with Google Tag Manager, it's a bit of configuration. Very little compared to, it's actually little compared to what we have been doing in past. And so everything is event. Then let's go into real time. You got a much better view in real time than you earlier had. So you can see everything in one snapshot, and you can also add comparisons right here. So you can start to see where users are coming from, what's happening, and then you can add comparisons similar to, like I was saying about segment. It's not full-blown segment, but you can do, let's say I want to only look at a particular age and compare this all user to that age range. In this site, it's not going to make a big difference because there's not enough traffic at this point, but in other sites it might. Then you have customer acquisition, very similar to what you are seeing, user acquisition and traffic acquisition. Those two are different scenarios here. User acquisition is new users. Where are they coming from? How are we acquiring them? Which sources are we acquiring them from? That's what you see in user acquisition. You got the trends right here. And similar to Google Analytics, previous Google Analytics version, you have this tabular view. The other views are gone at this point. I'm sure they're going to bring back a bunch of that stuff, but right now they're not right here, so you can't click on those. Similar to previous, you can still add another secondary dimension if you would like. So if I want to add something else here, let's say gender, and if that information is available, then it'll show up here. Well, there is not enough data because gender is calculated or automatically by Google. So it's not there, but you get the idea. You can add another secondary dimension similar to as you did in past. Traffic acquisition is how are the sessions coming. So there is one user acquisition and there is traffic acquisition. So how did you acquire me versus how am I coming as a repeat visitor? So that's the different view here. You also have engagement. Engagement is a big piece here. Engagement is because they are using, sorry, let me just drink a little bit of water here. Since they are using app and mobile app and website combined, they are making engagement as a critical piece of everything. User engaging with the app is not a page view, but it's an engagement that's happening. So everything is kind of considered an engagement when user is looking at your site or engaging with your website or app. So you have engaged sessions per user, average engagement, etc., and then you have event counts. So you'll also notice here it says views by page title and screen class. So screens are for apps, right? So that's how you're defining. They're combining all of them together to give you a good view of cross channel or cross device information. And then events, which events are happening. As you can see, these are automatically collected. There is nothing you need to do to collect this information. Scrolls, how many people are scrolling, user engagement, etc. This is all done automatically for you. Pages and screens. So we don't have any screens here, but it's all basically pages, similar stuff right here. Monetization is about e-commerce, so you're not going to see that. I wish I had access to Google Analytics demo store, which they haven't released yet, but if they do, when they do, I'll show that, or set up another site for e-commerce, but this one doesn't, but you get the idea. So all it is about, how are we acquiring users? How are we able to engage them? And are they purchasing something? Very user-centric view and classification. Then you have the retention. Are users coming back? So you got user returning users, user retention, somebody who was acquired 2 days ago, how are they, or 37 days ago, and how they trend. All that stuff is right here. You have demographic information, similar to what we saw earlier. Users by city, age, and all those things are still not available because it's just started collecting data. Like 2 days ago is when Google released it. So whatever they're doing, it's not available at this point. Demographic details are going to be this similar. And then you have overview of tech details. So let's see. Right here. Yeah. Browsers, devices, screen resolution, etc. So very similar to what you saw. So anything that you're learning there applies here in terms of how you look at the data. So that's not going away. However, the biggest thing is this event-centric view. How do you track different events? What events make sense? And how do you translate whatever you were capturing earlier? How does it translate to the new one? Here you can actually, these are the automatically, like I said, automatically captured events, but there are lots of events that Google recommends that you can track on your own, whether using Google Tag Manager on your own or your, by putting a little piece of code on your pages. So conversions, very similar there. Now, the biggest thing that has changed also is this analysis. So event-centric, customer-centric, and then analysis. They have launched this analysis hub. So let's say if I want to conduct an analysis, this is one I conducted yesterday. I want to look at some stuff and I do not know, either I am starting with a mission, like this is what I need to find out, or I'm trying to figure out what I can learn. There are some templates provided right here. You can use one of these templates if you would like. Oh, it automatically picked up cohort analysis. But here you can start to look at that data. Very similar to how Google Data Studio works or many other tools work. You have this where you can drag and drop your dimensions and metrics to further slice and dice this data. And you can create your segments right here too. See here it says segments. Click on plus, you can create segments based on users, session, events, etc. There is a lot, as I was playing with this data, and I was thinking about the scenarios because people were asking me like, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? And as I was thinking through those scenarios, some of those are not very intuitive here. So you might have a hard time figuring out, how do I do that scenario? But then whenever I get a problem, I can't sleep properly. So I kept thinking in the night, like, how can you do it? Then something occurred. This is where a lot of knowledge about data layers and a lot of knowledge about Google Tag Manager can come into play to give you pretty much endless possibilities. So not just like what Google is recommending and how to do it or what can be done, but there are possibilities are endless when you think about those two things. So I haven't put those in action yet, but I will be, and they'll become part of my course as well, which I'm for freelancers. So I want to help freelancers start their career in freelancing and make money. So I'll be working with like select few to kind of work through this and really become expert at that. But there are possibilities. So if you can get, start to think about how you can do it, take a scenario, think about not just how you do in Google Analytics, but Google Tag Manager or some other processing that you can do. But that's all the advanced topics. However, you can create some segment here. So let's say if I want to create a user level segment, click here and I can see session. Oh, this is already here, include right here, condition. And you can pick the condition here. I want to look at city, and then you type in the value, matches. So let's say I want to see Bangalore, and then it gives you that view right here. You can also click on to build an audience for targeting if you want. Once you're done, you give it a name. However, not everything that was possible in the previous segment is currently possible in this scenario. And that's what I'm looking at and figuring out how to create those. You get the session level, event level, everything is here. So once you do it, you can give your analysis a name right here. And that's it. And you're done. So you go to analysis, back into analysis hub. And your analysis is now available. So this is the one I did yesterday. I was looking at some random stuff to see it's a device category. And here I have done is a pivot table, or not pivot table view, but nested view. So I've got country and then devices. So you can do all that right here in this segment too. So play with it. I think it's pretty powerful. And then you have the template gallery, which I was showing you. The people can also, I believe, share templates here. It's not available like in your shared from other third parties, but Google has released these ones for now. And then actually, let me go back. You have audience. Audience is where you can define new audience based on certain criteria. So you click on new audience, you can define create your custom audience right here. And then also user properties. You can create user properties. These are like custom dimensions at the user level. So you can define a lot of information about your users, whatever you have. Maybe it's their age. So there's a question. Can we use other Google sources in analysis hubs such as Google Ads or Publisher and mix the data with? Yes, that should be doable. Those are the, if you go into admin, there are some in admin console, there are some integrations right there. More integrations will be coming for sure, because that's the whole point, is bringing everything together. If not here, then it'll be, you can also conduct analysis in BigQuery. There is a BigQuery integration as well. So BigQuery is pretty powerful. I'm actually starting to release some video courses on that as well, which you will find here, as well as the full course on the site. But yeah, you can do that. And then user properties, as I was saying, these are custom dimension at the user scope. So you can define a bunch of information about your known users. And this is age, for example. If you want to bring, you are collecting the age in your CRM system, you can bring that in here. Or if you are collecting their preferences, etc., purchase history, lifetime value. So one of the things that I cover in my SQL course is finding out the loyalty level of customers. So you have a CRM system, you can write queries to figure out who's loyal, who's not. And then you can port that data into Google Analytics to help you analyze, hey, how are my loyal customers compared to my other not so loyal customers, or any other criteria, who's about to churn, who's about to buy, what's their propensity to buy. All that stuff you can do in SQL, BigQuery, wherever. BigQuery also uses SQL, so you can do analysis there and then port that as a custom dimension in Google Analytics and conduct deeper analysis. Or you can take Google Analytics data, put it back there, conduct a further analysis. Machine learning is a big part of everything they're doing. So all this, you will get tons of insight. I'm sure there is a bunch more coming up, because I was doing a class last time with how you can use machine learning to find customer insights. And since these guys are now using machine learning, I'm sure there will be other views coming up like who's about to churn, who's likely to buy, who will open my email, who's going to click my ad, who is going to buy this product, which product should I put in front of them, which message will resonate with them. All that stuff will likely come into play here within that, either this ecosystem, or you put it out and Google releases another product. All that stuff is going to come. So that's a quick view into app plus web. Hopefully you get a good view. Covered a lot of stuff, not went too deep into it, which I will definitely go in my course where different scenarios will be set up. So if anybody or any of you is interested in becoming a freelancer, because I know tons of opportunities are going to come, this might be your time to jump into Google Analytics. Let me know, and I will start the program pretty soon on that. The course is actually listed on the site already. All right, I'm gonna now read questions and answer them. So please type in your questions here. For a platform so event centric, I'm not seeing easy way to break down the event beyond totals. Instead, seeing total clicks that include click URL. Yeah, you can actually break down the events beyond totals. When you say totals, mean when you go, let's say, go to all events, you have account and you have users, and you want to break it down. You're saying by certain segments. I believe you can do in your analysis hub. You can do an event centric and slice and dice the data right here in your analysis hub. So you can start from somewhere. Maybe you start a blank analysis and then pull the information that you need, maybe event name, and then slice by mobile traffic, etc. I hope that answers your question, right? So you got the event name, you can drop that. And let's say I want to look at mobile traffic and for this data. So you got the mobile traffic. You can do a bunch of stuff here. You just have to get used to this one and get creative with how you bring more information in there. I think this opens up, the way they are doing stuff opens up a lot more possibilities than were there in the previous Google Analytics. You can have events can have up to 25 parameters, I think. And then there is also concept of metadata, I believe. I haven't looked into that, so I can't comment at this point, but that's will be my focus in coming days, weeks, is solely diving into this. So how can we bring more rich information? I think this opens up, in my opinion, is on the strategy, really thinking through on what is needed and what we can do, and how do you actually create right governance around it, the naming convention, so that it's easy to manage. It all starts with what are we trying to achieve, and then figure it out. But the possibilities are there. If you start just randomly putting stuff, I think it'll become a mess pretty quickly. And that's why I think there will be tons of help needed by companies to clean that data. See, click event name and click URL. Oh, you mean, okay, where did this event happen? Yes, that's possible as well. So again, you have to look through it, and those are the parameters that you can pass when you set the event. That's possible. You can do that in Google Tag Manager. You can pass all that information. Okay, can we use the user ID here? Yes, you can use the user ID here. That's you will be able to set all this stuff. So yeah, that's why the cross-device information comes into play. Yes, that concept is still the same. Similar to how you did in the past one, you'll do it here as well. And it'll stitch those two together. And that is the whole idea, right? It's to connect different pieces of journey. User ID in GA is different view. Is it now the user view? Oh, okay, got it. Yes, so there is no concept of view that I have seen. It's gone, unless they are going to release something. But you can do, again, similar analysis is what you can do. So it's not going to get a user ID view. Cool. Any other questions? How was it? Feedback. Feedback on session or feedback on GA4? Go ahead and type it. I won't be offended. Go ahead. I might just edit it out. All right, cool. I hope you enjoyed it. And like I mentioned, I'm gonna do the plug for one of again for my course. Those who want to become freelancers or are interested, reach out to me, and I'll help you set up everything that you need. Yes, good. It was great. Thank you. Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And more to come as they release more stuff, as I figure out stuff based on business scenarios. I'm going to start to map those scenarios and see, okay, how do we bring that information here? What kind of templates needed? All that stuff will be available. All right, I'm going to stay here, let you guys think about it, let it sink in. If you have questions, please let me know, and I'll drop off when everybody drops off. So I've got a few people, I'm still looking at this. And when this recording is available, I will share a link with you guys as well, so you can go back and check it out. Um, and send me topics for the next set of trainings. I'm conducting these free trainings. Definitely, the plug is for me to sell my courses, but also provide information. So if you don't buy courses, that's fine. But the whole idea is you'll enjoy it, and definitely you'll get a ton of value. And by the way, I'm also doing a Become a Digital Analyst program that is launching this week. So if you guys want to join, anybody wants to join, let me know. It takes you through full journey. So you start from everything. So, from beginners to all the way to advanced stuff. And I've done this for several years, this program. And I can assure you, it's one of its kind in the whole world. Nobody does it. I've had people from all over the world, and I think here's one person who has actually, he's typing here, has gone through the program as well. And this program gives you practical experience, gives you everything that you need to become a digital and web analyst, hands-on experience with Adobe and Google tools as well. So pretty much very comprehensive program. Cool. Would you suggest to have a test site to set it up? You mean you should set it up on test site? I would say you go ahead and use your own site, set up a test account and try it out. Um, but if you do want to practice on a site and you don't have one, I will be actually providing that to my students. So I would suggest go ahead and join my program on Google Analytics 4 or the full program. Then either will have that practice site. Thank you, Guillermo. Hope you enjoyed it. Yes, I only got 2 likes on this video. I hope you guys can all give me at least likes on that. Cool. All right. Go ahead and like the video. Thank you, guys. No more questions? Cool. All right. I'm not seeing any questions and people are dropping off. So I'll give you 10 more seconds to ask a question. If not, then let's just end it. Oh, I see new people have joined. Not for me. It was great. Cool. Thank you. New people joined. Any questions from you? Or maybe you dropped off and you just joined back. All right. People are joining now. So I'm going to stay here and answer questions. Is anybody who just joined and has a question, please feel free to ask your questions. Yes, I got one more like. Hey, it's fun to see this real time. I just started doing this live streams, and it's kind of fun for me to do it and interact in real time with you guys. All right. Anything else you want to see here while we are here? I have time. I have 15 more minutes before I need to drop off. All right. Okay. I'm not seeing any questions at this point. So thank you very much, guys. I'm going to end the stream and I'll see you in the next training. Make sure to send me your feedback if you want to email me, and make sure to send me your ideas for the next training. And those who want to join the program for Google Analytics 4 or the full become a digital and web analyst, please do let me know. We're starting soon, like in a week. Actually, to become a digital analyst is starting this week. It's already started, but excuse me, you can still join. And then the other program is starting next week or a week or two. All right, cool.